Welcome to the 18th episode of the Communication Air podcast, the community patch notes episode of new versus old games. And before we get into anything, we have the oldest gamer that I know with us today. But you probably have seen him across the internet. I don't know how you wouldn't know who he is. He does the Nintendo Powercast, the Halo Infinite podcast that hasn't recorded an episode in 2 years. Pokemon, there's a Pokemon podcast. If there's a podcast out there, N64Josh is probably on it. What's up, Josh? How you doing?
What's up? So glad to be here. Yeah, oldest gamer you know. That's a title I was always wanting to hold. So glad to be here, and we'll see we'll see how this goes. As I'm gonna be screaming, "Get off my lawn!"
Yeah, and, you have those on your business card for PAX, right?
Yeah, oldest gamer.
Just hand it out. Yeah,
yeah. Oldest gamer at PAX.
You got the AARP gamer card.
Getting the senior discount at all the booths.
And also Cheesy C64. How's it going, Cheesy?
What's going on, Cheese Curds? I'm good, man. I had kind of a spa day.
A spa day? Like today,
yeah.
or?
Yeah, today.
Did you go to a spa?
Were mentioning the lighting. My face might be glowing. Did you
get a tan?
No, I did like a facial mask.
Oh.
And then like a pore strip, and I got a pedicure. It was
that
nice
for a special occasion, or did you just want a spa day?
My wife wanted a spa day, and she had a pretty busy weekend, and so I was like, I'll join you. And honestly, more people just need that in their life. Like, it might sound scary, I don't know, for guys in particular for some reason, but it's just self-care, and it feels great.
I think men should have self-care.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels good to be pampered.
Yeah, it does.
I've never been in mud or something. You know, like.
Do you get a massage? Do you get a massage?
Yeah, massages for sure. But, this isn't a spa podcast. What kind of podcast is this?
Like, it could be.
I don't know where this is heading, but like.
But yeah, this is the community patch notes episode of old versus new, or new versus old, whatever. But Josh, tell the people what you do, where they can find you.
Most of the time, I'm a referee on the NPC for YouTube, and Crawler and I just try to stay out of the bloodbath that usually ensues during NPC when you two have a disagreement. And no, I've been creating content for a very long time. I think I'm pushing 16 years at content creation, and
nice.
Yeah, so I literally am the oldest gamer, and content creation has changed my life. Podcasting has opened up doors that never would have believed possible. We wouldn't know each other if it hadn't been, for TikTok and just the passion for gaming and games, and I just love it. I love being on the mic and interacting with community, and I got to stream some Mario Kart yesterday, and I haven't been able to stream nearly as much, and it was like one of the most relaxing things it felt like a spa day for me, just streaming some Mario Kart and hanging with the community. And so that's really what it boils down to, is community, and it's just so fun, like the relationships that have been formed, not only with me, with people in the community, but just the relationships that are formed outside of it, and seeing people like, even like you guys, like doing the show, and just, watching the Discord and people interact and friendships being made. Like, I don't know. I love all of it. So, and of course it's, at the same time, it's always been somewhat of a business venture for me. Like, and through it, I've written books and sold courses and all kinds of things.
You're a
So
busy man.
I just-
You're a busy man.
right now I think this is about the busiest I've ever been in my life, and that's crazy for me to say, but it's all good. It's all, in fact, today I did an audition, or yesterday I did an audition, and got into a program with TikTok where I could potentially be working with brands like McDonald's and Panera Bread. And
Nice.
And I made an ad with some cologne, because I ordered cologne online and it was fake. And so they were like, I basically made an ad for Sephora saying I always get my cologne at Sephora because I know I'll get the real thing versus getting scammed. And that audition got me in. So
Nice.
I thought you were going to say Mario. I thought you were going to say you auditioned for Mario.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Johnny, that's how you do it.
Yeah, I threw my hat in the ring last week. So
And it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't
but
bad.
Like
No, it wasn't bad.
Josh knows. Josh is the biggest Mario fan. He's wearing a Mario shirt. Are you wearing are you wearing any kind of like tee, Johnny? Like graphic?
I'm wearing a
tee?
Bowser shirt because that's the
but-
persona I take on when I go into this show. But I actually made a thumbnail for today's episode, and I made it Mario Kart centric just for Josh.
There you go.
I have a Super Mario Kart on one side and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the other side.
Ooh.
So
okay,
which one's better, Josh?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I mean, that's easy. What about, all right, so if you take Super Mario Kart out of it,
okay,
any like Super Mario Mario Kart 64 or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which do you prefer?
Deluxe.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought you were gonna choose
me too.
One of the older versions.
I can't, because of what I just spoke upon with community. When you can have an unlimited number of people race, and then they built it into where we shuffle every 4 races, and like, you see people on TikTok that maybe aren't part of the community, but then they see themselves on stream, or they beat me racing or whatever, and they get so excited. Like, I can't, like, Mario Kart 64 was great. I played it for hours and have nothing but like super fond memories of it, but I can't, like, 8 has been life-changing. I mean, it's what helped me grow TikTok. It's what helped me, like, it's why I've got Mario Kart tattooed on my arm, because even though it is the cover of Super Mario Kart, just because I love that hand-drawn like artwork so much.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, 8 is 8's just a better game, and less rubber banding.
I know we have a bunch of members or a bunch of listeners that listen to Nintendo Powercast, so they know you, and they probably have raced with you and played with you, so I think they know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, as far as community, before we get into our server maintenance, can you tell the story of Who's Kyle? Because I think that's one of the better community stories and a friendship that actually has come out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was still streaming Smash periodically, and then doing a Smash tournament, and I would typically use the same code for my Smash room, because a bot would let people know when it was their turn to fight me. And so he had been in some Smash streams, and then I did a tournament, and I didn't change the passcode for the tournament. And we try to keep as many people out of the tournaments as possible, just for the lag, right? Just because it's a tournament, people are playing for money. So we finished up a round, and there was this Kyle just sitting in the room with us, like, and I'm like, who's Kyle? Like, who's this Kyle? Like, I just kept saying it, like, you gotta go, Kyle. Like, who's Kyle, right? I didn't think anything of it. I removed him from the room. Well, then he puts out a TikTok of like how I snuck into a streamer's room, and like and like it's showing all the clips of me going, who's Kyle? Like, we made shirts. Like there's been like t-shirts that were purchased, and it has since he's one of my mods now, and he came out and visited us when we did our 400th
Yeah.
episode for NPC. And even on the 1 year of that like anniversary, because it kind of helped, it kind of blew, it was like one of his first viral videos on TikTok. And so, you know, I do edit it, and then we've since shared it a few times, and it's just been one of those really very memorable and super fun moments in the history of creating content for me. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think Kyle listens to the show. Maybe if not, that's fine. But Kyle, we should get Kyle on to tell his side of the story, because he's making he's making really cool content. He's memorizing the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Yeah, line by line.
Yeah, so that's pretty funny. So if you want to check out his content, it's Car Gaming, KAR Gaming.
R. I think it's 2 R's, is it not?
I think it's 1. I don't know.
You'll find
K.A.R. Gaming. But he does a lot of Mario or Nintendo centric content as well. So check that out.
He has no user info on. Oh, it's because the streamer mode kills everything on Discord. I was trying to see if I could find his info, but streaming
Yeah,
mode,
no, I think
streamer mode just kills everything.
Comment on this video, Kyle, and then everybody go follow Kyle.
There you go.
Yeah, so let's do some server maintenance first. We got new reviews on Apple. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Do you want to read one of them?
Do you want to read the first one? Yeah, okay. I'll pick the one I want to read.
Okay.
Which is called Progress from Nelder87, who gave it 5 stars. Said, I first heard these guys on the Nintendo Powercast, and you know, I really hated these 2 guys. But then I slowly learned to tolerate them enough to listen to them on their own podcast. Give them a listen and just know they are an acquired taste. Keep up the mediocre work, guys. Obviously, some sarcasm here. Had to clarify because, you know, how the internet is. And I just want to say, I love this review for 2 reasons. One, because I feel like this is just what communication error is just a change of opinion. Whether they are being sarcastic or not, like say they were being genuine and saying like, yeah, these guys suck, but they're okay now. That is what we're wanting with this show, is like, just maybe you have an opinion back then and you're like, yeah, you know what? I kind of maybe see it this way now. And also because it was 5 stars, and that's exactly what we told them to do. You know, even if it's a bad review, give it 5 stars and we'll read it on the show. So yeah, really like that one.
I have a feeling he was not being sarcastic in that first sentence.
Maybe. But you know what? We turned him around.
Love it. Love it.
There's another one here from Cat Person. It says, great podcast. This podcast is great, and I've been listening in with a family member. Wanted to write a review and ask a question. Would you rather play a Dark Souls no-hit run or a Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword? Great podcast. All right, so I don't know if you guys know what a no-hit run is in Dark Souls.
Just like can't get hit.
Yeah, it's beating the game without getting hit.
Yeah.
Which, you know, seems in Dark Souls seems impossible.
Right.
But
oh god, I already know the answer to this.
But I would not wish this on my worst enemy. I would not want them to play Skyward Sword. Like, that is too much torture.
It's not that bad of a game, dude.
Josh, all right, here's first question. Josh, have you played Skyward Sword?
3/4 of the way through.
Okay, so you got pretty far. That's actually pretty good, because I could only get like 2 hours in, then I was done. But what do you think of it?
Johnny, you're not going to like this answer. I don't quite like, motion controls aside. That was not my favorite, but besides that, I really enjoyed the story. I thought the some of the bosses were cool. Like I I remember playing it the whole time wondering, why is this game like disliked so much? Like
It's the
I
motion
didn't I didn't
controls. That's
I
the
didn't quite understand. The motion controls sucked, especially streaming and doing motion
Mhm.
controls, not ideal. You know, not ideal. And the only reason I quit, I think when I was playing it, I think like Wind Waker or something was coming out on the Wii U, and I was like trying to finish it before that game came out, and then I didn't. I can't remember the exact. I was trying to complete it before another game release, and then that game release, and I just didn't go back to it. And it had nothing to do with the. I was in an area where I was like I was a little bit stuck, but I was like it was the first time I had been stuck in that game, so I was like, okay, this is kind of cool actually. Like I get to explore and figure out like what I'm supposed to do. So
I might have to bite the bullet and do a playthrough.
Whoa. We could like so many follows. Johnny has to play Skyward Sword, or like we could make it a Patreon goal. We could do something with that because I don't believe that you'll just play it on your own. Like you're not gonna just pick up. I was gonna say pick up the copy, but you don't do that anyway. You just have it on your Switch.
I download it
digitally.
every couple months. I like download it. I'm like I'm gonna play it, and then I never play it.
Yeah.
But now I don't know. I have to see it through, but I don't think I'm gonna change my mind on this one.
It's not that bad. It's a good game in theory. Like it's not the best. Motion controls kind of ruin it, but as far as like what they're trying to do with Zelda and like the story of it and just how it's kind of a prequel to everything is fun to learn.
it made me feel like when I played Ocarina of Time. Like I was like, yo, this, and I played it way later. I did not play like it was way later in its life.
Did you
Like
do the 3DS version?
of no, I'm talking of Skyward Sword.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
like
what you
I did
played it
not.
like on the Switch or whatever when it came, or
No, it was on the Wii, but I was playing it on my Wii U, and like I said, there was a Wii U game coming out that it might have been
Mm.
Twilight Princess or Wind Waker. You guys are probably wondering what the heck I was talking about when I said that. So it was the Wind Waker remaster, right?
yeah,
And so
it was probably Wind Waker because they released Wii games on the eShop, and Skyward Sword was like the first Wii game on the Wii U eShop. So it was probably around that time.
yeah, and I had found if I bought a lot of Wii like I ended up with a hard copy with the gold case on that game, like how it was like a foil gold on Skyward Sword. So and I think I've since ended up with another disc version as well. I don't even know how. I don't remember, but it was just one of those things that was like, you know what, we got to do this. I tried doing the Metroid Prime trilogy with motion, and I was like, I can't do this. And the thing is, when you play with like in a gaming chair with the arms, you're smacking the arms the whole time, and you had to have I had to set the motion bar at a certain like level too in order to try to make the whole thing work. It was just yeah, not ideal, but I was pretty determined to get the most out of that game, and the community had a good time. I think that might be another factor too. Is I streamed the whole thing, and so there was people like kind of cheering me on and just like really enjoying the streams of just seeing me experience some of that stuff for the first time.
Well, let us know if you want to see me stream Skyward Sword.
I think there needs to be a bonus that you have to do all motion. Like if you hit
Yeah.
like kind of like a Kickstarter stretch goal.
Yeah.
Like
Stretch goal is all motion.
Did you see Johnny's face when you said that? It was like, oh, I was hoping nobody was going to mention that.
Anyway, but yeah, those are the new reviews. So thanks for those new reviews. I think we're at 20 5-star reviews on Spotify. We're at 16 5-star reviews on Apple. So keep those reviews coming. They do help a ton. And follow us on Twitter or X. I think it's officially X now.
Uh-huh.
Instagram, TikTok, and join the Discord.
Yeah, and YouTube. Subscribe on
Oh,
YouTube.
yeah, and subscribe to YouTube, too. We're at 120. We're at 120 subs.
We made it.
We made it. We did it. I feel like it's we're cruising. We're cruising now. We'll be at 1 million real soon.
Yeah, by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, 1 million. Okay, all right. So if we hit 1 million subscribers by the
Motion
end
controls.
of 2023, I will play Skyward Sword.
What's the stretch goal? 1.2?
2 million is
2
motion
million.
is motion control only.
This is the TikToks I want to see. All right, guys. Skyward Sword at 2 million YouTube subs. Get over there. Make these videos go viral.
Yeah, that's no, I'll clip that one out. That will be. We gotta get our clickbait, you know. All right, so that's all I got. Josh, we brought you on because we know you've been playing games for a long time. I won't be offensive.
Since before they were invented. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
do you like? What would you play on? Like
The dirt.
Like
the
a
Ruba.
tablet.
What's that?
But it's a stone tablet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cave drawings is the.
Well, no, it was you'd fill it with water, and then there was like these rings, and you'd press the button, and the
Oh, I love
bubbles
that
would bring
game.
the rings,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
But since you've been around for a long time, we wanted to get your opinion on what if you prefer older games or if you prefer more modern games.
This is an interesting topic. I've been thinking about this since you guys brought it up. Honestly, like,
Well, yeah.
And-
So one of the reasons that, like, I think, we've had this conversation before, but for our listeners, you have loved games pretty much ever since you've, touched the controller. I don't know how old you were. You played with your mom, right?
my
That was
uncle.
like a big.
Like,
Oh, your uncle. That's right.
yeah, my uncle played Atari and the arcades. I was probably 3-4 years old. I'm just guessing.
But now it seems like you aren't really into modern games as much as you were like older games. Is that true, or?
I mean, I don't know that I have the time
Mm-hmm.
that I did. I mean, it's probably a pretty obvious answer for most people, right? But I mean, like the 360 era, I had an extremely high gamer score. Like I hit 100,000 on my gamer score, like, and that was kind of unheard of at that time. There wasn't a lot of people with the gamer scores that high, right? Like I was doing the achievement hunting, and I just thought that was like a whole nother way to gamify games, which seems crazy. But I think at one point I had like 200 360 games in my collection. Like it was, I remember opening my cabinet door one day to take everything to GameStop because I was just like, time to upgrade. I think it was like to get the Wii U and some other things like that. It was like, let's do these upgrades. But I mean, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, couldn't put those games down. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, couldn't put it down. Tears of the Kingdom, if I had the time right now, I would not stop playing it. It's I finished my battle pass in Fortnite to get Optimus Prime because he was such a like
Oh,
an
you did
iconic-
finish it.
I did. Yeah. Well,
Did you
I had to
finish it
spend a
with
little-
your credit card number, or did
Yes,
you finish it?
Yeah. I bought. Well, I made the mistake. I only needed 15 levels to finish, so I bought those. But then there was a battle worn Optimus for 25 more levels. If I had collected everything and got all the V-Bucks, I could have just paid for those. But I accidentally purchased all the levels I needed, and then. But again, I got no regrets because it's Optimus Prime. Like that's a massive part of my childhood. I've got 2 Optimuses sitting right on top of my speakers on my desk right now. Like, probably my next tattoo will be Transformers. So
Nice.
So I mean, I still love modern gaming,
Mhm.
and cannot wait for like Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Like I can't wait. I can't, and I'm just gonna force myself to play that one. And honestly, there's a good chance, like, you know, I may only have one kid left at home by the time that game comes out, and so um I might play, like, it's kind of a little bit nostalgic to be able to play with
Yeah.
her, you
Yeah.
know. So um and you know, I had, so Brian was the original NPC co-host,
Mhm.
and he was in my stream yesterday, and he's like, what's the latest and greatest Nintendo Switch game that N64Josh is playing right now? Oh, look, it's still Mario Kart. You know, just kind of throwing shade at me. And so and I mean, we always get a good laugh about it, right? But uh, I have a big retro collection though too. So
Right.
I mean, it I'm I would say I'm a healthy mix of both, but
Mhm.
I also, you know, I will try to do my weekly stuff in Halo because I can do it in about a 2 hour session. It's not a long time investment within
Mhm.
the, you know, throughout the week. Or like if I want to take a break at work or something, I can just fire that up and do a couple matches and then go, you know, go back to it. So where I'm, what a lot of times when it comes to like big single player games or even like Pikmin or something like that, I want to sit down and digest big portions at a time. And to do little bite-sized pieces, I'm like, I feel like I'm ruining the experience to a certain extent.
Mhm.
You know, for Tears of the Kingdom to just chip away at like a half hour at a time or something, I'm like, that's not, I want to know life this stuff, and I can't right now. So I'm kind of just like, it's just sitting in the backlog so that when I do have that opportunity again, I'll be able to really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's almost like it's not fair to the game and fair to yourself because you should have the time and enjoy yourself while you're playing it, and doing those like bite-sized sessions, like you're saying, is it's not enjoyable.
No, I feel like there's games that are made for that, right? And a lot of these single player experiences are not really made for that, especially when there's
Mhm.
so much story involved. And like, you know, if you leave in the middle of like, hey, you need to do this part of this quest or whatever, and then you're like, what was I doing? And stuff's
Yeah.
not clear, and how do I check that again? You know, it
Mhm.
it then makes the motivation to go play it, like, it takes away from it. So
Yeah, like I picked up a bunch of games on the Switch recently, and I haven't been like, whenever I look at the games I bought, I'm like, well, this one I can't really, I don't have the time to play for like 2 hours straight, so I just end up playing Vampire Survivors because that run can't be more than 30 minutes. So it's like, it's a nice like tidbit. It's a nice like chunk that you could just play, and then I save the games where I could put in a couple hours for the weekend. Like this weekend, I'll probably play a bunch of Starfield because that comes out,
Mm.
and it's a long weekend, so hopefully I'll put a lot of time into it then. But yeah, during the week I don't have a ton of time, so I usually just play small games like Vampire Survivors or Brotato. You know, stupid little 30-minute dopamine hits.
Yeah. Well,
I get it.
let's see if your answers change as we go through these the community patch notes. We got one from YouTube. We got one on YouTube, not from YouTube. That would be really cool if
That would
YouTube
be
was
cool.
listening. But we got it from Jeff Troidvania, who said, I prefer new games, especially new games that pay homage to old games. Oftentimes they play smoother and have more quality of life features. Take Metroid Dread, for example. It's a new game that takes the original style and improves on it a lot. Also, I actually do mess around with every single setting when creating a character, especially the first time around. So that last bit was talking about if you actually spend time in the character creation mode, or do you just do the default settings? And Johnny says that nobody messes around with the character selection and the customization. You just do the default and you move on. What do you do?
It really it kind of depends on the game I'm playing. If I'm looking at the back of their head the whole time, I may not put all that much effort into their face.
Mhm.
But I remember specifically like Fight Night round 3, like spending way too long designing my boxer's face and
Mhm.
you know, looking at some of those options. Street Fighter 6 came out. Someone in the community picked it up for me, and I probably spent like maybe 10 minutes. And then I went into the room where all the people's characters were, and it was the most terrifying nightmare fuel. Like the stuff that people made, like I'm just like, why do they give people those options? Like it could not be any worse. Like just these horrible monstrosities. So yeah,
I do have a question, a
time.
follow-up question. What is your build in Mario Kart?
My build in Mario Kart, it's what's on my shirt, baby. It's Mario standard pipe cart, standard wheels, and the Bowser glider.
The reason I say that is because that is the most basic default kart setup that you could possibly have.
Almost. I could have Mario's standard cart, like his, from the cover of Deluxe.
Yeah.
So this is just to keep it old school with Super and 64.
And I guess you don't use the standard glider, so that's a little bit more.
Yeah, you got to turn those wheels on the selection screen.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but I was able to put my put my Hot Wheels cart together that has the standard wheels, the pipe cart, and the Bowser glider. I had to steal it from Bowser to do it, but I was able to pull it off.
That's cool.
So that comment was from Jeff Troyvania, and he is excited for Starfield. So I'm assuming he has early access. So the only thing I better see on Friday from Jeff is character creation. No actual gameplay. It better only be character creation.
I'll use the random button. I'll use the random.
Yeah, somebody did say that they just randomize stuff.
Oh, here's what I will tell you though. I spent way too much time on Shepard on the first Mass Effect.
Oh, somebody said that too.
Trying to make him look like me, and then I got bothered because he didn't look like the box art when 2 came out. So I replayed 1, not knowing that I could have just changed my look. I replayed all the way through 1 with the regular Shep, to then be able to transfer that Shep to 2 and then keep it into 3 so it looked just like the box art.
Well, all right. So since you brought it up, we had someone on TikTok, Patrick Ruffton, said in Mass Effect 2, I took the time and Shepard looked great until I actually started. He was a monster. I don't put the work in now. So like that experience for that person, they thought it was a complete waste of time, and they don't do it on video games anymore.
The only other time I'll do it is when I can create like the persona I wish I looked like green mohawks and stuff I used to wear as a kid or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'll bring it back. I'll bring back the, some of the old school punk rock days. So,
Well, this next comment's from the name's Jer. He says, I'm going to have to go with new games on this as well. Not that I don't have immense respect for old games. I mean, it's important to look back at our history, and I can definitely appreciate that what many titles were going for. Modern games just have so many ways that improve the experience. The only things I don't like about modern gaming is the awful monetization going on. I am absolutely the person spending a ton of time making my characters. I just spent like an hour and a half making my Baldur's Gate character. People are trying to prove me wrong, but I still believe I'm correct that most people do not use character creation.
As far as the monetization part of that comment, is that something that you just bought Optimus Prime. So like is monetization a problem for you in modern gaming, or is it even like, I don't know, I was going to say, does it bother you? That's the same thing, but
it's the evolution of gaming, right? Like it's just business the way I see it. There's still games out there that are like, I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, $70, and you get your playthrough, and then I'm sure there'll be DLC at some point, and we'll do like we've been doing. But I mean, it's all an evolution, right? Like there was no DLC for games up until like
Horse Armor.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say we had some DLC. I know we did on like the original Xbox, right? Like that was some of the first console DLC that we'd ever seen. I know Halo 2 had DLC because that's where everybody would cheat when the anything that wasn't on the disc they could mess with. And so, Rainbow Six, all that kind of stuff. And it just, I mean, it has become the natural evolution. Fortnite is one of those games that like they could see that the community was sweating so much that they added bots, they took away building, and they've modified that game to make it very user friendly. And it doesn't matter your skill level, you're probably going to get kills in that game. You're probably going to have a good time with it. Now, I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench into Johnny's nobody creates characters.
Here we go.
What about Mii's? Do they count?
I tried that.
We talked about this.
I already tried that.
And I said it took me 5 seconds maybe to make a Mii.
I spent a long time making my Mii look just like me. And then we had a guy racing with us yesterday who had Bowser, Dry Bowser, Squidward, SpongeBob.
But like, are they actually creating those characters, or couldn't you like scan them in? Like you didn't have to make them.
You could scan someone else's in, so they had to make them.
Yeah, but like you could get them online. Like I don't think these people are making these characters.
Well, someone did.
Somebody did, but other people are just getting the code and using them.
So the first person doesn't count, and everyone else.
No. The first person counts, but I'm just saying the people are cheating because they're not spending time to make it. It's like saying customizing your character. This is what I thought you were going to ask because we're talking about Fortnite, and I have a ton of skins in that game. I would not consider that customization because I'm just buying a skin to look like I was playing as Moon Knight the other day.
Okay.
And
the thing I love about Fortnite is I can set it on random, so I can make all of my builds that I like, and then it just picks which one, and they're all from a list. It's like making your own playlist on Spotify, but with your skins,
Yeah. Fortnite is impressive. I logged back in to check out the new season, and I mean, they definitely want you to buy stuff. Like that shop is huge now.
Oh yeah.
And but everybody, like, if there's anybody out there that has played Fortnite for like more than, I don't know, 10 hours, I would assume that they would have gotten a battle pass at some point or bought a skin at some point. I doubt that there's anybody that is completely free to play in that game.
I know of people who are as cheap as it comes when it comes to free to play games who spend money in Fortnite.
Yeah, I don't want to know. I don't want to think about how much
the crew pass.
I was in the crew, Fortnite crew, for like way longer than I should have. I finally canceled it because I wasn't playing it. So I was just spending $10 a month or whatever it was.
Yeah, they'll get you.
But I don't regret it. Like I don't feel bad about that. For some reason, like me spending that money in that game doesn't make me feel bad.
Well, at the end of the day, that $10 still gave you 1,000 V-Bucks to spend in the store. So even if you weren't playing, you could still go buy a skin after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I just
Now it's still just digital products that there's no tangible items, but you don't care about that anyway, right, Johnny? So it's
I mean, there are like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, you could unlock Spider-Man, and that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know, you would probably just buy a Spider-Man skin in Tony Hawk.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, instead of it being just there and a fun bonus, they now are going to make you buy that skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so instead of unlockables, now most modern games are like, all right, just give us $10, $20, and we'll give it to you.
Except for Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. Well, except for Nintendo games, just in general. They don't really do that yet.
Speaking of customization, I think the most impressive customization, in my opinion, is Forza. I don't know how people end up taking those shapes, then hitting a button, and it magically turns into like Optimus Prime all over their car. And I'm like, what magic?
It's like
are
immediate too. Like those are up on the like shop or whatever I don't even know what it is, but up on the marketplace, like launch day. They're already good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, we got a comment from Midfi Senpai. Said, LOL, Josh isn't old. He was born in the 80s, like the 1980 BC. Is that true? Were you born in 1980 BC?
Do I out Midfi Senpai? That is the question. that is the true question.
Don't dox them, but like, are
But
they
also,
one to
we do
talk?
wanna
Are they
know
one
the
to talk?
truth.
Let's just say him and I have a history, and I think his history starts before mine.
Whoa.
Before 1980 BC?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
It was 81. Okay, I was 81. Leave me alone.
Do you want me to read the next one, Johnny?
Yeah, since yours was kind of small.
All right. Tyler Keeble says, I think John Ebo is referring to artificial difficulty induced to suck as many quarters from players as possible, which compared to nowadays is terrible game design. However, modern game design isn't without fault either. Releasing unfinished games with promises to fix/update later is a toxic practice many companies do. Pay to win and microtransactions, I would say, have done more harm than good. Putting profitability over artistry is bad. Excuse me. Modern games do have the benefit of new technology, which leads to more possibilities. Modern games also have the benefit of learning from the past. Video games are still a fairly young artistic medium, so these growing pains are much more apparent in older games. At the end of the day, I'd say I'm 50-50 for which I prefer. And yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3 still holds up and is probably one of the few NES games that does, but also Super Mario World is superior in nearly every way. So there's our answer.
That is
It's
incorrect.
Super Mario World.
That isn't. They're okay. So they're both fantastic games. I know we talked about this a little bit on Nintendo Powercast, but they're both fantastic games. All right, they're both 10 out of 10. They're both great for different reasons.
What are you holding a pen for? What are you?
Because
what are you
I'm
writing
taking
down
notes.
Right now?
I'm taking notes. But Super Mario Bros. 3 is more about the power-ups and the platforming. And Super Mario World is more about secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're
like
bad
vanilla.
at platforming like Cheesy is, of course you're not going to like Super Mario Bros. 3.
I don't know if I'm bad at platforming. It's just
Did you beat it yet?
No. No, it's just you're rushing through the whole game. Like, I get that each level is only like 3 minutes and you can complete those levels faster than that, but it doesn't feel like I'm getting anything out of it. Like, I I guess when I think of platforming, and it's completely different, but I think of 3D platforming, which is about secrets and collectathons and like exploring. And so like I'm not getting that with Super Mario Bros. 3, but I do get that with Super Mario Bros. World.
It's like vanilla's the best ice cream. Is vanilla bean just a little better? Is French vanilla just a little better? That's Mario 3 and Mario World.
Ooh,
Yeah,
which is which? You think World is better?
I don't know. I love them both I feel like they're like my children and I love them equally. Like I
Ooh,
don't
you have a favorite.
I
you
don't
know you have a favorite.
it's 3, and he just doesn't want to admit it.
So I never owned 3 as a kid. I wanted it. I asked for it. I borrowed it. I'd rent it. World I did get.
Mhm.
And this is it's almost a when I look back at World, I remember the first time I played it and what a night and day difference it was from 3 as far as the amount of like the colors on the screen and everything. And I mean, I would play through all my save files to 100% completion, like nothing was missed. And I can't say the same with 3. So I think by default, World is probably the one.
There it is.
I think this is gonna have to.
That's having to break it down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think we're gonna have to keep a tally of like the guests that we have on,
guests
and
that
we're
come
just
on.
gonna ask which do you prefer, Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World. Then we'll keep a tally, and then like over the course of a year, we'll sum it up.
like if I would if I think I did an episode where I was like my deserted island games, and I was like, I'm taking Mario All Stars plus World because it was.
Oh, that's cheating.
But I know, but I can't. It's so hard for me to choose between those two games. I just I love them both, honestly, and yeah, it's a really tough call. But I did play way more of World. So if we're gonna base it on time played, World would win.
There you go, Johnny. What's the next question?
All right. So this is from Gothram. It says, I can't really say which one's better because I love them both equally for different reasons. I find modern games more visually appealing, and I get excited for new ones coming out because it's something new to experience, but once I beat them, I'm usually done with them. Whereas I feel retro games have a better replayability because I love going back and playing retro games that I grew up with on a regular basis. It's like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom after I beat them and never really went back and played them, but games like Super Mario Bros., Donkey Kong Country, Chrono Trigger, and Secret of Mana, I still love playing to this day. If I had to choose one over the other, I'd probably choose retro because I feel like I wouldn't get tired of them. This is probably why I love indie games so much. They're new experiences with retro feel. Love the show, fellas. Been a big fan of you two since I started listening to NPC back around 2020. Crawler and N64Josh are awesome too.
Oh shucks! I
So
thought
thank
you
you,
those
Gotham.
guys suck.
I know that's where I thought it was going. They don't get the vibe of the show.
So kind of like what he was saying, and we talked about it on NPC a little bit with Wonder, right? Part of the reason I love the fact that I was born when I was and got to watch the way games have evolved over time is you get to see what, especially with like Miyamoto, I believe we get to see what his original vision was, right? It's like early film when it was like they're doing everything they can to try to bring their vision to reality, and it's like claymation and stuff looks really corny, and you kind of got to use your imagination, and you know, why does that look fake and blah blah blah, right? And just to see as graphics have improved, like, you know, the Goomba going from being flat to having a little bit of dimension to it, right? And just the even the way like the characters came alive in the Mario movie, and like how the turtles had like, or the Koopas had different like personalities, and just that kind of stuff has been great to watch over the years. I mean, one of my screens is the box art from Super Mario Land, right? That
Mhm.
looks nothing like the gameplay, like nothing, but it looks almost identical to Wonder. Like we're playing the artwork at this point. And so that's what I really enjoy. Is just like the Mario that we saw in Wonder, where he's grabbing his hat coming out of the pipe, and like each character's like cheering as they jump on somebody, or there's just, we saw it a lot in Luigi's Mansion where he's scared and shaking, and it's like, yo, this character's like in the game. Like this isn't how it used to be. We used to kind of have to, they made Master Chief kind of like faceless so that you could put yourself in the place of Master Chief, right? And
until the show.
That's right. Until 4.
Master Cheeks.
And yeah, there was, we saw more of Chief than we wanted, but I think looking at it that way, where we're actually playing the box art at this point, I love that. I really do. And I mean, 3 and World, they started getting us there. Like but the original Super Mario Brothers, I mean, everything is just blocks put together. It's just you're playing Legos essentially. Like that's what the pixels seem like.
Yeah, no, I get that vibe from even just Super Mario Sunshine. Like, if that's a good game or not, that's a different question. But like, it's the idea of like the Mario characters going on vacation, and then Mario is getting framed for a crime that he didn't even do, and like the technology.
Those cops are horrible. Like that is clearly a water Mario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even from the drawing, it doesn't even look like Mario. Like, anyway, I get what you're saying. Yeah, what were they? They're the Pentas. The Pinata.
They suck at their job. That's what they are.
Okay. Anyway, I get what you're saying when it's like you get to see the characters kind of come to life after so many years. Moving on to X, I guess. We asked, we're going back to this, but just because we've asked so many times and asked so many people if Super Mario Bros. 3 still holds up. Clockwork Clone says, I think similar to most retro games that are fondly remembered, it was so ahead of its time, it basically looks like a SNES game, despite being on NES. It was the first major game with a world/level map. It introduced the Koopalings and some iconic power-ups. People remember feeling like a genius for discovering the warp whistles. Where are those? While in a vacuum, there are later Mario games that do the same thing, but better. They, by and large, feel iterative. Feel. Johnny, help me out. I don't know how to read.
Iterative. Iterative.
Okay, and less novel. I will say playing an old
Cheesy
game,
learns to read.
even one that holds up after its heyday, will also make it seem less epic. I've experienced the same sensation with Super Mario Bros. World and Chrono Trigger.
Clockwork always is. He's much smarter.
Yeah, I know, and that's why, like, anytime I have to read his comments, I'm like, oh man, I don't know.
His points are valid and thought out, and I'm just like,
very good.
No, that game sucks.
And it's so matter of fact too.
Yeah, there's no.
I said I didn't own 3, and I didn't own 3 on the NES for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
But I did own Mario All-Stars. And that was more of a super... I think that's why I probably hold those games to almost the same standard, because I played it more on All-Stars, which was a 16-bit game. It wasn't just the 8-bit sprites. And so when you you play them that way, it's like, oh wait a minute, they were kind of modernized.
I thought that's how it looked because I was the same way. I didn't have Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES, so I thought it was just the.
Wait a minute, hold up.
What?
Were you we even have a question in here that says that you steered me wrong
What did
from the Super Mario Bros. 3 that I should be playing.
Well, no, you should always play the original. I'm saying
playing the Game Boy Advance version.
Yeah, but
is
to
the
get
best
like
one.
the like what it was originally, I would not recommend playing Super Mario All Stars as the first one
because
it's a different look. It looks different because I played
Okay.
that as a kid, like growing up. Then when the Wii got the Virtual Console, I bought it on the Wii, and I'm like, what is this? It looks completely different than I remember. And it's because it was the NES version and not the Super Nintendo. But I still would recommend that original NES version. I know
Yeah, but
I know the GBA has like the Ultimate Edition or whatever, Super Mario Bros. 4, Super Mario World 3, whatever the heck they call it.
Yoshi's Plus.
Yeah. But I would always recommend that NES version over any of those.
Yeah, okay, but it sounds like you fell in love with the SNES version of it, right? Which one did you play first?
The SNES version.
Right. So
But I mean, I still love the NES version. I play the NES version more than All Stars. I don't think All Stars it doesn't feel right. They changed the mechanics a little.
like control wise, like is it tighter or what do you mean?
It's like more World. It feels like World. Josh, I don't know
I
if you
probably would love
knew if I think they changed the All Stars version a little bit. I might be wrong on that. I know the graphics are different.
I believe in the advanced version you can get the cape.
No.
Oh.
Not in the original levels, but I think in the eShop or the e-card readers levels. I think that is the case. Let me double check that because I got Google right here. So,
but yeah, I think you should always play the original.
So you played the original Skyward Sword on Wii?
I did, yeah.
Did you?
I didn't play it all the way through.
Oh, okay.
But I did play it.
So there's a feather. Super Mario Brothers 3 Advance. There is a feather in it, so you can get the cape.
I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, because isn't that like the P-Wing in a way?
I mean, other than you could float, you know, if you got good enough at it, it's not too much different. The flight path and trajectory and everything is just almost the same as the raccoon tail. And the raccoon tail, if you tap the button fast enough, you slowly come down. So,
Anyway, you want to read $2 Heroes comment, Johnny?
Yeah, so $2 Hero says, I love cheesy, but Super Mario Bros. 3 absolutely holds up. I think Super Mario Bros. 3 is defined by its controls and level design, both of which are near perfect and timeless in my opinion, but also the art direction, the vibes, the fun suits, the immaculate soundtrack. It's all just 10 out of 10. There's a character called Big Bertha in it.
You mentioned that on NPC, and then I re-listened to it, and I'm still trying to figure out who Big Bertha is. Who is that?
It's the big fish in the third world.
are you sure? I thought it was the big hammer bro.
Wait, hold on. Now I might be wrong.
I think
he doesn't even know what game he's played.
I think it's the real big hammer bro that
Bertha Super.
here we go.
Who can find it first? No, it's the fish. It's the fish.
Is it the fish?
Yeah, Big Bertha is an enemy first seen in Super Mario Bros. 3. It is a female version of the boss Bass and a large Cheep Cheep.
So, but is Big Bertha the one that has like the little baby Cheep Cheeps that come out of it?
I think you're thinking of bloopers.
Oh yeah, the bloopers do that, huh? Yeah.
No, Big
But
Bertha just like chases you around in one of
the picture I'm looking at now, a couple of the pictures have a little Cheep coming out of its mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. I see that. I just I don't know. I loved and I hated that enemy so much. Like it's so annoying and it's satisfying when you shoot her with a fire flower, but she comes back like 30 seconds later.
Yeah.
I just love that enemy.
I think I was thinking the Sledge Bro. Yeah, that's who I was thinking. I thought that was Bertha. And I literally have thought that since like 1989.
There you go. You learned something new today.
So that's literally how long I thought that was. I thought that character was called Big Bertha. So crazy.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I did want to. I mean, we talked a little bit about the TikTok comments about the customization. I did want to point this one out. We got on YouTube. It was from Atlas Simp 420. It says, "I don't know who you are. This just popped up on my feed. I'm gonna say, as a Black/Asian who grew up with little to zero representation in video game characters, if I have an opportunity to make myself into a game, 1000%, I'm gonna do it. This was probably not the answer you're looking for, but I do love customization." I wanted to bring it up because we have a blind spot. We are all white men.
Yes.
So we never really had to worry about not being represented in a video game. And I completely understand where they're coming from.
I think it is absolute bonkers that New Horizons was the first mainline Animal Crossing game where you could change your skin color. That is wild. They had Pocket Camp where you could change your skin color, and that was like the first Animal Crossing to do that. But mainline was New Horizons. And why did it take that long?
What was it? New Leaf was what? 2012 or something?
Something like that. But that didn't have a way to change your skin color.
Yeah, and I think Nintendo does do a good job of customization now with Splatoon and Animal Crossing. There's no gender specific.
Yeah, it's
items
like
anymore.
You choose a style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way of going for it, and it's. But yeah, I never. Even the last episode, I said I look like the default me, so I am the
white
default
version.
character. Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. No, it's a good point. I don't know. Do you want to? Should we read all the other ones? Because it's kind of talking about Super Mario Bros. 3 and customization. And
I did have some. There was some validation here. It says, as a developer who has seen the statistics for character creation in some titles, a majority don't mess with it, but a large minority actually do use it. It's a weird way of saying it, though.
So I did ask, like, if they would clarify what games they've worked on or what games they've developed, and I didn't get an answer back, so I don't know.
It's top secret. The Ninjas came and got them.
Exactly.
I will add this to customization. Games like WWF No Mercy, where you could create a wrestler mode and like spend a lot of time. That game, I loved playing as Goldberg in WCW versus NWO, but he wasn't available in the WWF game. So I was able to then create him and create the moveset, the face, everything. And like, it's really funny, but like I fire up my cart of No Mercy, and my brother-in-law had played it for the longest time. So I find him in there and my sister and like, just all the different characters that he wanted to create at that time. And so I think when it's just a single player game that you're looking at the back of their head, like it's probably not as often, but like I said earlier, like wrestling or boxing games or, even maybe even some fighting games or whatever that case may be, like I might put a little more effort in that way.
Yeah. I can think of a couple of characters I had made for Def Jam Vendetta Fight for New York, which is, like kind of
Same developer.
street fighting. Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's the same. That's the people that made No Mercy and WCW versus NWO.
Never knew that, but it makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. Yeah, those games are so much fun. Like, Johnny, did you never make a character for Madden?
No,
Never? You've
Well,
never put yourself into a sports game?
no. I mean, I probably did make a character, but it was just like the default looking guy with a beard, maybe.
Yeah, you just want to get
I just want to play the game.
gameplay.
Yeah. It's up there with story. Like, I don't care about what my character looks like. And especially for games like, I play a lot of From Software games, and you're wearing armor most of the time, so you don't even know what your character is going to look like. So it's not worth spending a ton of time making a character.
I get what you're saying. I do think it's kind of funny in a first-person game where, like, you do spend a lot of time making your character, and yeah, maybe you see the back of their head, but then it's like a cutscene. They look completely just out of place with everybody else.
I mean,
In 1999, the original marketing material for Perfect Dark said you could use the Game Boy camera or like a 64 camera and scan your own face in. And everybody was really excited about this, but then they were worried even back then without online that it was just going to be private areas getting scanned in to the game.
Oh.
well, now in Baldur's Gate 3, you can customize that. So
It's a weird place for a nose.
Yeah, I see that. That's still an issue. They had that issue with everybody who Switch one.
Oh yeah, everybody went
what is
to
it?
Switch. There was no
Yeah,
filter on the. You could put a picture on, like if you're playing on your phone, and there was no filter, so people were like streaming it online and trying to play with people online. They would just put inappropriate pictures on there.
Yikes.
That's a classic Nintendo move, not thinking about that.
Didn't they do that with the with Labo? Because you could like make your own course for Mario Kart, or at least like the biking section that they had. You could like scan things like your hand.
I did not know that. No, I know for Smash Brothers, like there's
Smash, yeah.
there's custom stages that are interesting.
Uh-huh.
But
To say the least, with movement.
Oh yeah, yeah.
oh yeah. Well, we are over. We're almost at an hour and 10 minutes. It's a long one.
Yeah.
So we had to take it slow for Josh.
So I did want to talk about this because if you guys don't mind, it just take a
No,
few
that's
more
fine.
minutes. But like when you guys asked about like old versus new, right?
Mhm.
Some of the games that like where my head went immediately was the Ninja Turtles games.
Mhm.
The very first Turtles games is insanely hard. Like I had a 45-minute time limit. I got to the Technodrome like one time. Like it, people talk about the dam level in that game, and like I would breeze through it because I played it so much. I was so determined as a kid. Then the second game came out, literally the first game that I ever played all night long until the sun came up, and would beat it with one turtle. My friend fell asleep. I'm grabbing sodas out of the garage, and just that's where we played, was like this little side room in their garage that we had no parents. It was like the best. I was probably in 5th grade, and just loved it. And then today I was doing on the Nintendo News Minute looking at Shredder's Revenge, and like that's another game that I feel like they captured that arcade feel and some of the original vision that you was they probably hoped they could pull off, but were limited by technology. With all the, they could pull out all the stops now. But at the same time, made it a game that's very accessible. And I'm currently working with a publisher, and I was talking with the CEO, and one of the games we're publishing is like a Mike Tyson clone, and the developer was so dead set on making the game as hard as it could be. And literally today, I got a notification on the Discord that he made the game easier for everybody, because all the reviews were like, "This is way too hard," and it was about as hard as Mike Tyson's Punch Out, right? Which in today's standards is just, But talking with the owner of the publishing company, he's like, "I don't want to play games that are hard. I just want to play games that are fun." Like, we've seen, like we talked about Fortnite, games like Call of Duty, they start swaying so far to, like, it happened in Halo, where they swayed so far to the competitive side of things that the casual was left behind. And then, they're left to go play something else at that point.
Yeah, and I think if they have the option, like maybe he has, or maybe the dev has a difficulty slider, like an easy, normal, hard, super hard. Like, I think that's okay to have, and that was a feature that was added later, because I can't remember an old game that had difficulty settings. Like it was like, this is the game you got. Good luck. Like Ninja Gaiden, that was one. There's no easy mode.
Not until Ninja Gaiden Black. And then it was Ninja Dog. If you died too many times, it was like, do you want to turn on Ninja Dog mode?
Yeah, having the accessibility options, like, why not? Why not? It doesn't really. I mean, I talk about playing From Software games a lot. They don't have difficulty sliders, and people defend it as a vision of the developer. But I mean, what would it hurt to have an easy mode?
But those games, they're designed to make you improve and learn the skills as you go, right?
Yeah.
Where I think in the case of this, I think it's called Vanilla Beast, it was so incredibly hard. Like your average, like, just streamer was like, "Yo, this isn't even fun to stream. Like, I'm just getting wrecked, like so fast that it's like." And I mean, Punch Out is essentially a puzzle game, right? I mean, that's basically what it's just patterns. Like, it's Tetris with boxing gloves.
Did you play it? Did you play this game?
I didn't. It was PC only, and I had.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if what type of game. Like, is it a puzzle game like Punch Out, or is it?
Oh no! It's just like it's actually Punch Out. Like you're
getting punched out.
Yeah. You're playing, but you're playing against, like, the characters are ridiculous. And this whole game leans way too far into the 80s. Like, all of the ladies are in bikinis. It's like it all goes that direction, right?
Does it have, are they stereotypes? Like in Punch Out, all of the fighters are stereotypes.
Oh, 1,000%. Like, looking at the cover here, there's Hulk Hogan, there's Macho Man, there's Jason, like
Voorhees,
Friday the 13th. Yeah. Logan Paul. Like, it's it's just it's basically just a parody of everything. So
now I want to play it. So whenever that comes out, let me know, because I'm gonna play it.
Sensei Greed, it's out. It's on Steam right now.
Oh, so they released it this hard.
They did, yeah.
And now they're gonna backtrack.
That's
interesting.
Yeah, they're having to backtrack because it's just too hard.
I think one of our ideas for topics was, should games have difficulty options?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fascinating topic.
Yeah, because some people get really upset by it. Like, it ruins their game experience, even if there is difficulty sliders. And to me, it's like, that's a choice. You don't have to get upset. Like, just play the one that you want to play.
Yeah. You don't have to play the easy mode, right? You don't have to play the Kirby mode or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the funky mode or
the baby mode.
Well, I mean, we've all played Contra, right? So
Mhm.
Contra 4 came out on DS. I used to have like a standing bet with anybody. If you can beat the first level, you have all your continues on easy or normal. I think it was even on easy. I'll give you $20. I never paid a single person. But I got to the point that I could play through that first level without even taking damage, like without even getting hit. Because it's all patterns, right? That's
Right.
all that's literally all it is. It's like it seems super hard at first, and then you're like, oh, you do it enough, all of a sudden it's not.
Mhm.
And then when the NES Classic came out, and I hooked it up, and I was playing with my son, who, mind you, was like building in Fortnite like the most crazy like nonsense. He was dead so fast in Super C, and literally looking at me like, how are you even doing this? Like jumping over bullets and shooting guys, and just the way, it was beyond him on how. But that's what I grew up with. Like that's just all we knew.
It does make it hard to go back to some games. Some of the games are extremely hard. Like I tried to play Turtles on the NES, and I just couldn't. And there's Ghouls and Ghosts and Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Like those
Oh, yeah.
games are so hard.
Yep. Even the Mega Man games can be pretty difficult.
Yeah.
The other day, when I was streaming and chat was buying the time slots, somebody bought a Super Metroid slot, but they made me do the SP version so I could play the very end of the game and essentially beat it, right?
Mhm.
And Super Metroid's in my like top 5 games of all time, like especially for that ending. And like playing that, I still would prefer Dread to have pixel art versus the art it has now, just because. And that was even what's funny is as I was looking at the trailer for the new Turtles Shredder's Revenge DLC, it made me want a new Metroid with pixel art even that much more, because I was just like, the Turtles game is doing it so well.
Mhm.
So I feel like there's a resurgence of pixel art games, especially in the indie scene. Like Vampire Survivors looks like Castlevania. It looks like a Castlevania game. Sea of Stars comes out tomorrow,
Mhm.
and that is getting fantastic reviews right now. I can't wait to play it. It looks like an SNES RPG. Like it has that 16-bit graphics, and it just looks great. But
Octopath,
yeah,
and
Octopath.
Yeah.
Triangle Strategy.
Live Alive, all those like 2D HD remakes
Mm-hmm.
that they're doing. But then you also have things like Shovel Knight that's just like a Mario platformer. So yeah, I mean, pixel art is cool, and I'm glad that we still have it around. And like with Ninja Turtles, that they're just bringing it back to where it started. I think that's really cool. But I do think that when it comes to graphics, and we kind of talked about this a little last week, it's just not like it could be a preference, but we have come a long way with graphics since when we started, and it's just cool to see the technological advances.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, before we do wrap up, Josh, I'll let Johnny close out, but I do want to say thank you for everything that you've done and everything in the gaming community and content creation space, because I know you've helped Johnny and I out a lot, and we've met a lot of cool people, and this is how the podcast even started. So I just wanted to say thank you for opening those doors.
My pleasure. Like, I love it. I love just seeing people create and get out there and make their voices heard. And a lot of people are too afraid to. So watching people take those steps and do it is just that's what it's all about.
and we got past the 7-episode hurdle.
Yes.
I think you told us that most podcasts don't get past 7 episodes, so
Yeah,
we're there.
You're
but
in
yeah,
the top 1% now.
nice. I'm always a 1%er. But yeah, everybody should definitely check out Josh's content. I'll put it in the show notes and description. But it's n64josh.com, right? You can find everything there.
Yeah. N64Josh everywhere, including Farmers Only.
Well, thanks again. Cheesy, where can people find you?
You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, all of the places. CheezyC64, CheezyC64, and on Nintendo Powercast.
Yeah, and I'm Johnny Bo everywhere. And on the Nintendo Powercast, where you could hear more from Josh. And we even fight on there, too. So check it out.
Well, and really thank you guys, too, for, being a part of that show. And just it's a pleasure getting to chat week after week, and then throwing down in some retro games periodically, or new games.
It's that GoldenEye footage out there? I don't know.
Yeah, not yet.
There's some language that we gotta find.
Yeah, some edits maybe. So they're probably the most epic Mario Party play in the history of Mario Party.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you all next week.